So where's the wind coming from at the
that's
moment?
the
Can
good
anyone see
thing.
any wind? Starts, you feel a little bit sort of around about, maybe there?
North, northwest.
Yeah. We can also, if we have a look at the top of the mast on that quest, you can see that little arrow up there?
Oh, yeah.
So that's a pretty good idea. So the wind's sort of about to there. So, Sarah, do you want to grab the front of the boat? See if you can lift it up and pull it over to where it is. About that direction. Yep. So just grab the
You
hand.
reckon I can? Oh,
Not that little. Yeah, good. Excellent. So the boat's now head to wind. All right. So the next thing we need to do is get the mast up. So I was showing Christopher and Svetlana this morning how to do this. And the main thing is to be really careful, first of all, that when you're picking the mast up, that you're not putting anyone at risk. So that's going to be the long end there, so I'll make sure there's no one walking down there. Careful here. I get roughly to the middle of the mast. I'll just lift it up. And as I lift it up, I'll work my way in the middle, and my hands are wide apart, so you can control the mast. Now what happens is, as soon as you let the mast peel a bit like that, or tip, it gets really heavy really fast. So you want to keep it really upright. So you'll find once you get it upright, it's like those circuit performers that sort of wander around with one hand with a big pole, so like that. So do you want to try holding it, spin? That's it. Now tip it a bit and feel how it loads up. It gets away from you fairly quickly. Yep. So also if you're in the wind, that can happen as well. So,
L.
so it's not actually that heavy, it's just the length. Once it gets a bit tipped, it starts getting a bit hard to control. Yeah. Cool. Beautiful. There we go. So nice wide grip. That's it. Hold him upright. Yep. Feel that? Yeah. So you can get away from you a little bit. There we go. Yep. Good. Excellent. So what I do is I've got my hands wide apart, and I'm going to carry it over to the boat. And you can see this, yet again I'll use lots of words, but this will help you hear the words and then eventually you'll remember. So this is the thwart here, and see the hole there? I slide the mast through there, and if you look down the bottom there's a block on the bottom of the mast that sits perfectly in that little slot there, okay, which is called mast set. So once that's locked in there, just check that it is, and locked in, the mast will sit in this hole perfectly there like that, okay, good. Now, so this mast will be put away a little bit incorrectly, so it's a little bit messy, but we can make it work. Now, does anyone know what the wires that hold the mast up, what they're called? No? So they're stays, so they're side stays. Side stays. Like I said, I'll send round an email this week and I've got some pictures of parts of the boat. You're looking at the boat, are you? Okay, so I unwind this. That. Go. And I'm just untwisting someone's handiwork here. Alright, good. Now, Sven, do you want to come and grab this?
Yeah, that's
Sven,
right.
you go around that side. Good. Now we can see these clips here. We've got two of them. And they go onto this little horseshoe here. So I push the mast back a little bit. That'll go onto there.
There's two lots. They both go on?
Yeah, one goes one way and one goes the other. So they sort of go opposite directions. Good. Working for you.
Oops, didn't come off.
Is it going on for you?
And then what? Yeah.
Yep, that's perfect, yeah. And so that way, by going back against it, it's sort of a bit of a fail-safe sort of idea. It's nice and strong, it's very easy to rig. Okay, good. And so, as we mentioned before, we need to use the ropes to pull the sails up, and they're called halyards. Okay. Now, if we all come a bit closer around here, sorry, I'll just want to do this. Alright, cool. So this is the halyard for the jib, and we can see here, this is a clip that's going to go onto the head of the jib. And the way it works is you see that pin there that runs up to the hole. So to unclip that, what we do is we pull on this collar here, that pulls the pin back, and that opens up. So do you want to have a go? Go up and shut it. Good. Beautiful. So you see a lot of these used, particularly on bigger boats, on keel boats and stuff, for a lot of the sheets and halyards. But it's a good strong system, very easy to use. So even with wet tired fingers you can undo it and do it up quite easily. Yeah, good.
You lost yourself.
Okay, good. So now, so Sven, can you go down here to the end of the jib? Yep. Grab that end, and you'll see there's a ring there.
To the end of the jib, yeah, that's the ring.
So bring that over here to where I am. Good. Now, do you want to clip that onto there?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hoist the jib. So that goes up like this. There we go. All right. So now I'll just come around on your side. Now, everyone notice this. This is something people get a bit confused at first, but it's a really handy thing. See how this is just sort of through there like that? Now I pull this down, and this gives us a bit of what we call purchase. So this is a little bit more leverage to pull the jib up. So we pull that loop there, that loop sits under here, like that, and that allows us to pull it up a bit tighter. So then to tension the jib up, what I do is I lean my upper body into there like that. And you can see the tension come on. Then to hold tension, I just go underneath the cleat and do a 0. Now that's now locked off, so everyone feel the tension in that side stroke. So you get quite a lot of rig tension that way, which is really good for your sailing performance. Makes the boat behave a lot better. Whereas if you have it really floppy, the boat will be a bit floppy, which is not what you want. Okay, so I've done a 0, then I do an 8, and another 0, and then we'll call a half inch there, and that's locked off now. And then with the, sorry?
Have you from the north?
Well, 080 I call it, and I'll show you again. I'm just to finish it off, but I'll do the knot again in a sec. Curl that up, and tuck that behind there, and then everything's neat. So then, if you do need to get the sail down in a hurry, like that, then you undo that half hitch, and you're good there. Okay, so I'll go through the knot again. So we've got, I'll go right back a little bit. So we've got our loop. First of all, here we pull the sail up. I get that loop out. That sits under our cleat. I'm going to push down with my upper body, so hang on, I'll get that lined up. Just relax your body in, just whatever your body weight is, don't sort of feel like you have to completely kill it, just firm. Then that sits under. Alright, so the knot sequence is 080, so I go 0, 8, 0, under the end, and sorry, 0, 8, sorry, 0, and then on top I do that half hitch there. There we go. Alright. And then I loop this up. Do you want to have a go? Try doing the knot. Okay. So, grab hold of the rope. So whether you're left-handed or right-handed, whatever's the dominant hand, that's it. Push down. Now go underneath. Doesn't matter. Either side will do. Now do a 0. Now do an 8. Good. And then another 0. Perfect. And then you, yes, exactly. Perfect. Awesome. Fine.
So the last bit's like half an 8.
Yes, that's probably a good way, half a 0, it's a good way to describe it. And as long as it's tucked underneath itself, that'll lock the knot. So you can sort of see how that sits underneath itself there. So yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Actually, I might use that. Anyone else want to have a go? Oh, so undo it.
Meant before that knot, right?
Yes, well just to finish it off, so the technical name for it is a half hitch, so we can call it half a 0. Good. So use your body weight first, so make sure that's it, push down, and now hook it under there with the tension on there. Good. So 0, 8, 0, yep, and then a half hitch, so put that underneath itself. You go the other way, that's it. Yeah, perfect. Now pull that tight. Good. So we'll get you, when you rig your own boat in a sec, to go through that a few times. Alright, so now the next thing we need to do is unroll the mainsail. Oh no, sorry. We fix this up first. So normally we don't put it away this way, so when we do a big boat I'll show you how we want that done. I'm done here. Now what are the ropes that pull the jib and maining pull? You have them on your bed. Sheets, yeah. Okay. Alright, so there's my jib sheet here. I'm going to grab that. Okay. So poke that through the hole here. Because as we're sailing, the jib will be pulled in on either side depending on where we are compared to wind. And what we do is we tie these two ends together.
And is that crossed? Is that meant to be crossed?
Well, that'll pull free once you
Oh,
get a bit of
will.
weight in the sail, yeah. But that's good. You're spotting detail, which is really important, so that's great. So the simplest knot we know is just going around like that, isn't it? Dead easy, everyone knows that knot?
It's the only one I know.
Yeah, well, that's a knot. It's still a good knot. So you make that, and then you slide this through here, and then we do the same thing on this side. Okay? So it means we've got a knot over one rope and a knot over the other rope. That very simple knot. We put them together like that, and they lock beautifully. Okay? I'll just do it one more time, and like I said, I'll get you guys to practice it on that other boat in a sec. I'll just keep running through it. So we cross the knots, and so I do a very, very basic knot over the left-hand rope. Then I do the same thing over the right-hand rope, just a knot against itself, but over the other rope.
I reckon you make it much easier than
We'll see. We'll find out. All right, so that means we have our jib sheet, and then we can cleat that off in the cleat, which is your job when you'll be crewing the boat out on the water. You'll be cleating it off on either side, depending on what your skipper says to you. Okay, so next thing I've got to do is unroll the mainsail off the boom. Okay, good. And then this fitting here is the gooseneck. And you can see on the end of the boom here, we have a hole there for the gooseneck to slide into. So we slide that over the gooseneck pin.
gooseneck.
Gooseneck, yeah. Like I said, a lot of these names are incredibly old, so there's probably not a huge amount of logic to it these days, but that's trying to keep the language standard. Yes, I might get that and I'll show them how to rig that, yeah. Okay, so then this thing here is the tack of the sail, and that sits over this fitting here on the gooseneck, and you can see this pin here, it's got this little end on it. Okay, what we do is we hold that straight, and that allows me to push that through the gooseneck, then through the eye of the sail, out the other side, and I'll let that pin sit 90 degrees, and then that locks that in. Okay, so now the sail's locked into the gooseneck. Next thing we have to do so the front of the sail is the tack, the back is the clue, but this is the easy one. That's the head of the sail. So you always think the top of the body is the head. Okay. So we've got that halyard there that I showed you before, how that clipped on. So I unclip that, line up that divot in it, slide that in there, push the pin through, and then lock that back on again. Okay, so there's our sail on. And then we put the sail into the mast track here. You can do this with two people, you can do it with one. One's pretty easy. But see how I'm holding my thumb on here or my fingers? In fact, Francesca, can you do this for me? If you put one hand around here and one hand around the other side, and just hold that in there and hold it up. Because otherwise the sail will sometimes go off the track and jam itself. That mainsail up. Yep, get that going now. Same story as the other cleat. Put the body weight into it a bit. We don't have that extra purchase because we don't need this one quite as tight. It's just fairly firm. Then 0, 8, and 0, and then just that half pitch. So exactly the same as before. We've got the extra bit of halyard here. Just loop that up. Tucks in behind there, and that's good. Okay, so now to the back of the boom, we have the out hole, and that's just to pull the bottom of the sail out, so it doesn't. So it just takes a little bit of the power out, and also controls it. The adjustment on these boats doesn't make a big difference, but once you get into a slightly racier boat, the out haul is a really critical component. At this early stage with these boats, it doesn't do a whole lot because it's what's called a captive foot. But when you get into a loose foot dinghy, like in my impulse, that's a really critical control. You can really control your power. So I've got this end here, so it goes through the sail first, then down through the eye, like that. And then on this side here, we've got what we call a V-cleat. So we go in through the hole in the back, and it goes out into the V-cleat there. Pull that. Doesn't have to be super tight, just sort of firmish. And then we cleat that off there. Now we've got a bit of extra rope here on this one, and we don't want that sort of hanging around when we're sailing. It could get caught on something, so I'll just do a couple of little half hitches here. That just tightens that up. Alright, good. And then finally, once we've got that all going, this is the main sheet. So it's the main rope that pulls in the mainsail, which is the bigger sail, which is the back one here. Same story as that clip we had for the jib there. That pops on there and we're good to go. Alright, now this rudder here, let's have a look. So what are these guys for? These things here?
To raise it and lower it.
Yeah, so when we're going to want to lower, loosen them off. Push the rudder down. Oops. There we go. Now how do we know when it's at the right angle?
Because if it fits that little loopy thing at the top, it should be smooth.
Yes, that's right. So you can see that gap there. There we go. So that's lined up now. So then all I have to do is put that shock cord through there, and that should hold the rudder down. I'm going to have to tie that one. It's not in the right spot, but that should do for today. Good. So that means the rudder's down. So then when you're coming in, you flip that out, you loosen these guys off, and you push your rudder up to come in. So your skipper will do that today, but fairly soon you'll be learning your skipper and you'll have to do that yourselves. Good. So then the rudder will sit on here. You can see how all these holes line up. And then this pin here is what holds it all together, so we just look through there. See how I line that up here. These boats, that one's slightly different, but it's all the same concept. And then you can see how there's that little eye there. That goes through there, and this pin will hold that in there. Whereas the other rudder had an actual sort of little loop there. Good. Okay, so the rudder's on. The venturi is up, so we put our bungs in. And this is a check you should always do before you go on the water. That's it, yep, excellent. Put that in for me. So you can, good. So this is our venturi here. And this just, when you're going fast enough, which you won't be today unfortunately, you put that down and it'll suck water out of the boat automatically. But you need a reasonable amount of speed before that works. So normally we leave that up. And then we check our hatches are in, which they are. Centerboard's up and secure. That's a rig pacer. Alright, good.